Alright, guys, we're back for round three's review of Supercoach 2022. As you can see, not as good of a week as we've had. Um, round one and two were definitely a lot stronger than this. But overall, I'd say the team's fine. Uh, it's tough to say. There's a couple of holes which I'd like to fix, but they can wait. 2000, just over 2,000, not amazing. You really want 2100 was definitely in reach this round. Just a couple of mistakes. 15,000 rank. I'd say until about round five, rank really doesn't matter too much, especially this week where I don't want to say like a lot of like the wrong picks were rewarded, but um, I guess the players that more serious players would target didn't score as great. Well, not as common among serious players did score well. So the ranking will be a little like just um, adjusted a little wrong, but yeah, it'll sort itself out. I'd say about by round five it should be fine. Or maybe it's round three now. Maybe like seven. Go with round seven. All right, so I don't think I actually made the same trades in the video last week, so I'll just go over what I did. I ended up going Whitfield out to Hall, which was negative 25. I think Whitfield had a 95 on the weekend. Um, but I do think it was the correct move. Like, all these moves logically, I think, make sense. It's just they didn't pan out. But if even if I could go back, I think logically I'd make the same moves. So Whitfield to Hall. Hall's definitely a keeper. The only reason you trade him out is he has a long term injury. Everyone's gonna want him in. Did overpay a little bit for him. He's dropped, I'd say about 7k. Um, so people might be able to get him in a little bit cheaper, but the bet was I bring him in early and I get those earlier scores to build up rank on people getting him in later. Turns out Whitfield actually scored better, at least this week. But Brisbane just manhandled North, like complete one-sided, not even close blowout. Yeah, Hall, like I knew the game was going to be a blowout going into it. Didn't know it was going to be that bad. Even though Brisbane were inaccurate, like Brisbane could have beat them by, man, how much did they beat them by? It was like over 100 easy. Yeah, dude. They could have beat them by like it's 100. They could have beat them by like 130 or 140 if they kicked accurate. Charlie Cameron was like 2 or 7. So yeah, just not a good game for North. Should bounce back this week. Who do they have? Sydney. So yes, they should be able to bounce back. We'll see. Um, Sydney's forward pressure is not insane, so should be able to kick it around the back line a bit. Short, good game. Good game from Richmond all around. I think it was Broad took a lot of the scoring from defence. Just it is what it is. Could have been a bit higher. Would have said like in the 120 range. But Short was just on the bench for a fair bit of the fourth. Nothing like alarming. It was just the ball was on the other side, so there was no way to make an interchange. Crisp 85, not great. Did salvage it. Did salvage his score a bit in the fourth. Didn't really watch the fourth. The Adelaide game was on the same time, and that was probably game of the round. So yeah, didn't really see much. But from what I saw in the first half, just not great. A lot more of the first week stuff than the second week stuff. It should balance itself out. De Gea is still to come back. No, De Gea is out this week, which is a little interesting because I don't know if that means anything for Crisp. I think that means Lipinski might play a little bit more forward. Not an alarming amount if you do have Lipinski, But yeah, see what it means for Chris. But could mean plays more midfield time, which it's on and off for him. He historically doesn't score good as a midfielder, but midfield is where everyone else scores good, so it should work itself out. Ridley 115. I actually think this was his best game so far. What did he score last week? I can't remember. But yeah, this felt like his best game. Um, he was the game was kind of just made for him. A lot of his kind of nothing kicks in the back, which he could intercept. He was able to play loose. Um, not that many times he was stuck in a lockdown role. Got the vast majority of kick-ins. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, that's all it takes. Melbourne weren't very accurate as well, so yeah, he got the points from that. Again, like the issue with Melbourne is like the Dogs, they hog all the Supercoach points. I think Clayton had like 150, Gorn had 117. Angus Brayshaw had like a 170 or something like that. So they took all the points. I could have seen this going up to about a 120 game. Now it's just wait and see whether he can do this consistently. This is the role you want him to play, and in this role, he's top 6 to top 8 defender. That's why you picked him, if you did pick him like I did. So now it's just wait and see. Hewitt, just great all around. Good defensive style midfielder that can do a lot in attack. Like he's good. He's just good all around. His first quarter was a little slow. I think he was on about 17 to 20. Which honestly, saying it out loud, that's actually not too bad. But he had like a 60-point second half, something along the lines of that, and yeah, good. You know, couple of tackles. He's really good by hand. He's better than above average by foot. So you take it. Hinge definitely the best of the defensive rookies. If you were to make a trade this week, it's just to get in one of these one of these better rookies. So if you haven't got Hinge, got to get him in. If you haven't got one of Horn Francis Dacos, got to get one of them. If you've got Martin, got to get him. Yeah, that's about it. And Sherry, if you haven't got him. Yeah, Hinge was great. Great game as well. The Dawson kick was just really good. It looked like it was going off, then bend back. That's like an iconic commentary line now, I reckon. Like the it's coming back. It was great to watch. Gibcus and De Koning, they were fine. Gibcus was a bit better than I expected. Should hold his spot for a little bit. He's kind of the athletic type of player that Richmond needs in the back. So yeah, hopefully he keeps his spot. De Koning is what you expect. Got chucked forward a bit, so he can play two positions, defense and forward, so he should keep his spot. Chris Scott doesn't really play with lineups all that much. Like it's right this year, it's Sean Higgins out, Sean Higgins in, Sean Higgins out, Sean Higgins in. So yeah, I don't think De Koning spots at risk that all that much. The midfield kind of shambles this week. I did have it like this, so just to accurately represent how the week went. Martin was on the bench, and I fielded Stevens for you, and I ended up taking Ward, so put him on field. McRae ended up on the wing in the fourth. I didn't get to watch this game, even though I wanted to. Yeah, the as far as I know, he was scoring fine. Like when I kept checking it, his scoring was fine. Not necessarily huge captain score incoming, but yeah, just playing on the wing in the fourth, like he did in the grand final, just killed his score. I did not have took captain. I had Neil and I had Dunkley Vice. We'll get into that. Took got double tagged by GWS, which was just terrible to see. I think against a normal team's singular tag, Took's fine. Um, I think he can play around the tag. He's just his work rate's too high. It's just the the way they were double tagging him, having two people on like basically either side of him. Yeah, it was just shutting him down. I don't think that will happen often though. So still should be fine if you want to captain him this week against Carlton. He'll be fine if you want to. Um, I think McRae is probably a better choice here, or Dunkley even. It, take your pick. If you got Clayton, that's the vice captain option, easy. For me, it would be Neil, but Mark O'Connor could come in. Getting into Neil, hurt his ankle. I think it was his right ankle, which was the same one he had an injury in last year. So still waiting to see an injury report and how he feels and stuff going after the game. But it just looked like a bit of a rolled ankle. He played the game out. It did drop his scoring a lot. He less involved after that. He still had a great game, but not as good as it was last week. But he didn't expect that. Just expect probably a little bit higher versus North, who, like I said, they beat all around the ground. So, yeah, obviously in hindsight should have taken Dunkley, huh? But I I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was playing for matchup too much because my matchup had Neil captain. So Rao, score kind of got carried by tackles, but again, Gold Coast, like North, got beaten all around the ground. So it's not really a game where you can use this to make points, like make statements about whether Rao was must have or not, not really all that needed. Like to the double tag isn't going to happen every week. That's once a season. Maybe we just got to stop captaining, vice captaining players for GWS if they're going to keep this double tag going, which I don't think they will. I think it was a extraordinary circumstance. But yeah, Raul's fine. Like, look at the first half of last week. He's obviously someone that you had to pick. Obviously someone. Horn Francis was fine. North again got smashed everywhere. He tried to do what he could, but he's just a rookie. Dacos was good. Played a bit more midfield this week and a bit more forward. Yeah, he's just good all around the ground. I'd still say he's the best rookie of the class, even though Horn Francis has shown like skill. I'd say Dacos is the best player of the class. Got a bit of allergies. Yeah, Stevens not as impressive this week. Um, uh, and here's where, if I could go back, this is probably the only way I change trades. I traded out Berry, as you can see, and it's not to do with Berry's score. I did kind of see him going big this week, but I thought in the long run it would be better to have someone like Hall or Heaney. Um, but if I could go back, I would reverse that trade, not for his score, like I said, but just so I don't have to field two or four rookies instead of only three, and then I can just loop the final spot. Put a bit too much faith in Stevens as a good rookie. I should have known. He is just an outside mid, so these bad scores can happen. Same thing with Ward, right? Like his scores are going to be up and down. I don't think. I think he needs to put in some time in the VFL. Honestly, I think he's just his skill set is not that high. And for a top five pick, I just think he needs to get used to the speed of the game, and he could probably do that in the VFL. But if he keeps his spot, it's better for Supercoach because it's good cash gen. But yeah, 54. I mean, that's fine. If that's your final spot, you have to take a 54 from a rookie. It's better than nothing. But yeah, it's a bit tough. Rochelle got dodged a bullet here with the Owens loop, not taking Rochelle. But then again, this was probably like a 45 to 50 score. He just gave up a 50 late, which I mean, I don't know if I agree with the 50, but they called it, and he lost about like 10 points for it. So And if Dawson handed it off to Rochelle, not Rochelle, what's his name? The guy that went down, came just back off neck surgery. Can't remember his name. If instead of giving it to Dawson, gave it to Rochelle, Rochelle kicks the game winner. This is probably like a 70 plus, and then a loop it. McDonald, fine score, kicked a goal, saved his score. Same as Rochelle, he's a small forward, and it's scores that aren't going to be great every week. That's why you don't field them. Owens is my loop until he comes back, which could be this week. He had, damn, I can never remember these off the top of my head, but I think it was 17 touches, 3 goals in the VFL at halftime, or like in three-quarter time. So wait and see if he comes back. It's possible. I don't say it's likely, but it is possible. Um, yeah. So wait and see with him. The ruck line did bring in Wits for Gorn. I think the correct play here was to get English. I'm not too sure if that's hindsight. I think the correct play was English. Because English, even in the worst case scenario, like say he's not a top three ruck, he'll be a top six forward. Um, or a top eight forward, I guess, minimum. Because in the forward line, it looks like 100, around 100 average is going to be enough to make top eight. Um, so yeah, I think the correct option here was English, which it is what it is. I just misplayed there. Wait and see how it goes in the long run. I just need Wits to kind of match Gorn. If he matches Gorn, then it makes the trade a little bit better. Just to wait and see. A lot of it's hindsight though, so it's tough to tell right now. Maybe in like 2 3 weeks, I can say if the trade was good or bad. Dunkley, like I said, I didn't really watch the game. I didn't intend to keep the VC on him. I just reversed trades, then made trades later, and I forgot to change it. So yeah, it is what it is. I should have taken the score, but hindsight thinking I thought Neil was going to do better. I thought Neil was going to like get in the 150 range, so that's why I took him. And plus the matchup had him. So, yeah, it is what it is. First week of matchup, you always overreact to it. Heaney, 88. Obviously not the score you want to bring him in for, but it just really wasn't a game for him. The Dogs' defense isn't really what Heaney wants to go against. So this week he's got North, should kick about two. Um, yeah, that should put him over 100. So he'll bounce back this week, and he's 500k basically. So yeah, I'm fine with that. Butters copped a shoulder knock. It was either shoulder or hip, one of the two. He copped a knock, which killed his scoring for the game. Just after the knock, didn't want to get too physical because he didn't want to aggravate it. I think he's fine though. It didn't look too serious. So yeah, should bounce back this week. Port really need to put in a good performance this week, actually. So I could see him doing pretty good. Canelio, this was like a prime Canelio game, 149. Was really just around the ground everywhere. He was doing everything, kicked a couple of goals, had a good amount of touches, efficient by his standards. So yeah, this was fine. I think this was the round that Cogs needed to solidify. Like this was a great pick for stud season. Super cheap, good average. Yeah, should go up a fair bit in value. I think again minimum D8, D8, top eight forward. So we'll see. Cherry 81. Again, like I just have to keep repeating. And this is the issue with having so many North players. They're gonna get beat a lot. So maybe Hall wasn't the play. Maybe it was better to go to Stewart, just so I'm not stacked up on North players. But yeah, Sherry should bounce back. Who was it? It was Hickey who went down this week. Read the synopsis of the game, and he went down. So if it's Joel or Marty, I think Sherry could kind of score like 100 to 120. I think Laddams will be a little bit more difficult because he's a bit more athletic, but he's big body and athletic, so we'll see. And then Naish, I think his scores last 2 weeks have kind of paid off being the more expensive rookie. I think he was 180k. He did need that 90, so we'll see how it goes. Um, yeah, it was 190k, so maybe he wanted a bit better. But then again, like the other forward rookies, he did the he did better than Martin. He did better than Rochelle, and better than Hayes, better than Dixon. I don't know if I missed a forward rookie. I guess it was McCartan, but people play McCartan in defense, so I'm not gonna really count that. So yeah, I think Nash was fine. Plus he's got the ability to go mid, so maybe I could work something out here. Put Nash in the midfield because I don't know, I feel more comfortable taking his score than I do Steven's score right now, at least because Nature's put up a couple of good ones. Against Collingwood this week, West that's like a rivalry game after the grand final, so West Coast should, yeah, step up to the challenge. We'll see how it goes. I will say on Naish, being a West Coast fan, this is just me like actually analysing the game. I wish he put on a bit more body weight and got a bit more physical in the inside midfield. Um, I think he's got a good knack for finding the ball. He's a pretty good kick. Like he's not amazing or anything, but neither is Gaff. Gaff's not an incredible kick. The commentary will tell you he is, but he's not really. Um, he did have, I think, like 5 tackles this week, so he is getting a bit more physical. But yeah, the tackles he's getting is because he can't not get them. Like it's someone running into him, he'd have to step out of the way. So I'd like to see him kind of insert himself into tackling situations a bit more. But yeah, that's just West Coast analysis. Um, the I count Dixon as a forward because I'm never going to field him. So Dixon, Hayes, Martin. This is probably the ideal way you want them. Hayes, his job's under a little bit of, you know, fight, I guess, because Ryder came back and Ryder wasn't great. So I don't think Hayes will get dropped, but it is on the cards because I don't know how much St Kilda are going to want to play so many talls. They've got Max King, who's pretty tall, Marshall, Hayes, and Ryder. It's 4 talls. I don't know if you want to really commit to that because this week it worked against Richmond, who, I mean, their defense really isn't that tall. Um, but wait and see. I guess I feel like on experience they're going to keep Ryder in the team. Yeah, it's like a unwritten rule, kind of like play 2 veterans. So yeah, got to wait and see. Dixon was fine. Did a fair bit better than I thought he would. Um, I actually think he was a lot better than Darling. Honestly, he did a lot more in creating contests. I think Darling's kind of over it, honestly. I'm surprised the coaching staff isn't done with him dropping so many marks. But yeah, Dixon I think gets dropped when Oscar Allen's fit, but I think that's still 2 weeks off, so should be a bit of cash down here, and then just use him as a loop. Martin, Martin is great. He's good at finding the ball. His job is fine. I think they can't drop him until he puts in a really bad performance. I don't think Langford is a straight in right now. Well, Langford's injured anyway for a little bit. I think that was like a proper hammy, so probably about 4 weeks. So yeah, it should be fine with Martin. Um, yeah, that's the team. So as for trades, not making any this week. I don't think I need to, unless of course injury report comes out that Neil, it was a syndesmosis injury and he's going to be on and off. If that's the case, then you do have to trade him. If you look at Neil's scores last year with the ankle injury, just you can't have that in your team. Besides that, the reason I trade boosted last week was so I don't have to make any trades this week. Everyone's set. The only rookie I'm missing is McCartan, but I'll just live with Gibcus, I guess. It should still be cashed in there. The issue though is Rochelle at a 42 break even. Uh, that's a bit high for him now. as a small forward, there are games where he's going to score under like a 40 or under a 50 to keep it fair. Yeah, just got to wait and see. This week against Essendon, Essendon's defense is like, to put it plainly, it's kind of a joke. Like Redmond is in contention for the worst AFL player this year. Like it's 3 rounds in, but I actually think like there's a short list and Redmond's on there. Like Redmond, Marnie, uh, I don't know, and then Eddie Betts commentary is on there as well. Um, yeah, so he should be able to kick 1 or 2 this week. Again, I'll loop him and Ward, and then I just got to keep fielding Stevens. Hopefully, this kind of pays off because I'm still not confident in Ward. I don't like his skills with the ball to field him. And McDonald's another forward, so I'm not going to field him. That's why, if you saw earlier, I did this. So, doing this, I can get one more rookie off field, which in this case would be Stevens, and then I can loop, one Stevens and Ward. Owens shouldn't come back. I know it's tough to say this week, but they're coming off a huge win, so I don't think this week he's back in. I think it's possible for him to come back, just not this week. Yeah, and then see this is a bit scuffed because he got Dunkley in the midfield, but it keeps a rookie off field, and I'm way more comfortable fielding Martin than I am Stevens right now. So yeah, probably just going to keep it like this. Yep, and yeah, that's probably about it for this week. It's first week of price rises. I don't think anyone really should be making trades this week unless it's a correction trade. But yeah, let me know if you are making any trades. Yeah, until then, see you all next week. Peace out.